Today, we will talk about Hegel's logic. See, Hegel's philosophy has three parts. Hegel's entire system has three parts. The first part is called logic, which we will talk about today. Well, I would like to tell you beforehand that Hegel has made categories in his book Logic. This encyclopedia of logic, science of logic, science of logic. There are about 40 to 50 categories of thought that I have driven. I have also made a PowerPoint picture of them. My editor will put them here like being nothing, becoming and like this, quantity and quality, and all those 30 to 40 categories. We will not drive any one of those categories in today's video. We will only drive the first three categories, being nothing and becoming. That is, if you are watching this video because we think that we will drive those categories in this video, then it is not like that. I will explain to you Hegel's system, what Hegel wanted, what is Hegel's logic, what are the categories of what are they? That is, what was Greek idealism? What were their categories? What were Plato's categories? What were Aristotle's categories? What were Kant's categories? And then what were Hegel's categories? And what was the difference between their categories? So I will explain this, but we will not drive the categories individually. If you want to know how those categories are driven individually, then for that you will have to do PhD on Hegel's logic. Then you will understand the derivation of those individual categories. But if you listen to today's video carefully, then you will at least know what are Hegel's categories. What method is he using to drive them? Why is he doing it? And what is the overall picture of Hegel's system? So Hegel's system is divided into three parts. One is logic on which. Today we will not drive categories, but overall we will talk about what is Hegel's logic, and all logic is mental. That is, your thought categories are there and are also ontological because in Hegel's here, thought itself is reality. Hegel is an idealist, neither thought itself is reality. Thought itself is being. So Hegel's first system is divided into three parts. Philosophy, which is the first part of Hegel's system, is called logic. It is also Hegel's epistemology. It is also Hegel's ontology, and it is also Hegel's metaphysics. Today we will talk about logic of Hegel's philosophy. The second part of Hegel's system is philosophy of nature, i.e. this world, this table, this gravity, this whole world which is science, this empirical world which you can touch, is called philosophy of nature. And the third part of Hegel's philosophy is called philosophy of spirit. And philosophy of spirit is the study of consciousness, i.e. it has subjective consciousness and objective consciousness, and then in the end the subject and object become one. So there's a very famous book on subjective consciousness, Phenomenology of Spirit. Phenomenology of Spirit is this very famous book. If the response to this video is good, then we will make the next video on phenomenology. Did you understand the point, brother, of Hegel's philosophy? When Hegel's name comes, then there are three. Everything is three. Hegel's philosophy has three parts: logic, nature, spirit. Then logic has three parts. Nature has three parts. Spirit has three parts: subjective spirit, objective spirit, and absolute, which is the last one, absolute consciousness. When you reach your absolute idea, subject and object become one. Then what is a system? What is Hegel's complete system? Logic, nature, apis, phenomenal spirit. I say it again, logic, which will be discussed today. Nature and spirit, which is his philosophy of spirit, also includes philosophy of history, philosophy of art, philosophy of religion, history of philosophy, and much more. But today we will talk about logic. Today we will not talk about nature. Today we will not talk about spirit. Spirit includes a philosophy of history. Today we will not talk about it. Today we will only talk about logic. Okay, logic means all the big scholars of Hegel say that Hegel's main system. That is, if you want to understand Hegel, his main work is his logic. If you understand his logic, then you will understand Hegel's main system. Well, let me tell you two things. First, I have told you that everything in Hegel's book is three. Then within each of those three, there are three. Then within each of those three, there are three. Similarly, Hegel has another system which is called dialectical process. Hegel uses dialectics in logic as well. Hegel uses dialectics in nature as well as in spirit, i.e. the journey of consciousness, which is in his book Phenomenology of the Spirit. From sense certainty to knowledge of the absolute, the consciousness that has progressed through dialectics, i.e. he uses dialectics and logic as well. When he does philosophy of nature, this physical world, he uses dialectics. And when he does philosophy of spirit, philosophy of history, history of philosophy, philosophy of religion, philosophy of science, whatever he does, he uses dialectics in that, i.e. in logic, in nature and in spirit. In every kind of philosophy, Hegel introduces dialectics. Sometimes it gets used, sometimes it feels good, sometimes it feels very bad, sometimes it feels like, what is he doing here? Who is doing this? See, dialectics, your means in some places like art, religion, and philosophy. This is a triad of it, this harteen, is called triad. What will you call triad in order to tina stem 3-3? If not pair, then talata, not triangular, brother. What is that couplet? It is mere Takmir's couplet, isn't it? Shabidalata's love could have failed a beard too, which turned out to be triangular. Now I don't know if it is Mears couplet or not. Someone recited it to me saying it is Mears, I think. It is Mears, because Mir can write such couplets of Mir and Mir's Diwan. You will find many such couplets too, wandering Walla. Sure, Shabidalata's love could have failed a beard too, which turned out to be triangular. Friend, if any one of my listeners comes to know whether this is Mears or not, then please confirm. Friend, Mir collected pain. And sorrow we also collected pain, and sorrow Mir. That is his couplet, isn't it? How many pains and sorrows have you collected? So I called him Diwan. So I collected pains and sorrows. Mir also did it. He also used to call it Ghazal. We also call it Ghazal. Kalima is a couplet of Ajis. Mir also did it. He also used to call it Ghazal. We also call it Ghazal. People don't even know Ghazal. Ghazal is a very powerful thing. What all genres of Ghazal have come and gone and have changed. What has happened to Nazm. And I don't know what all has people done to Ghazal. But Ghazal is still there. Brother, Ghazal is a strange genre. There is no such lovely genre in any language of the world. The power of Ghazal is there. It has been there since the time he also used to say Ghazal. We also call it Ghazal. Okay, Hegel's logic, nature, and spirit. Today we will talk about logic. Logic is the name of the most difficult piece of philosophy in the Western philosophical canon. There is no text of philosophy more difficult than this. People believe that it is more difficult than Hegel's logic. If there is no philosophy, then there is consensus on it, meaning there is no doubt about it. But we will not drive its categories today. I will ask my editor to put that picture here. I have made a picture of all its categories for you people. I have spent half my day and made a picture on PowerPoint in which all the categories are listed down. The 3 categories that are coming on the top are being, nothing, and becoming. Today I will do only their derivation. If you want drive, I have read it. I really enjoyed the derivation of infinity. I enjoyed reading 2-3 more derivations. I was very surprised, but at many places brother is put in, meaning everywhere, brother, you have the same word of dialectics. You have the same everywhere. You have its tool. You cannot put in everywhere, friend. Meaning now, whereas created the triad of art, religion, art and philosophy, religion, art and philosophy. Now how can art be an opposite of religion and many more triads? He has made some very meaningless things which seem like an attempt is being made to fool people, but at many places you are surprised as well. I was very surprised by the infinity he has read and many more derivations. It is a very subtle work. At many places you laugh at what is he doing, this is strange, but at many places that dialectic system, that system of tri-arts, seems good too. So I am not saying that I agree with all tri-arts, but this is his system. He had only one tool which he used everywhere. It worked at some places and did not look good at some places. So today we will talk about logic. I told you that logic is the most difficult text. It is strange that Hegel did not invent new words like Kant did. He invented new words. Kant was the first person who was doing philosophy in Germany. He had to invent new words in the German language. Hegel is not difficult because he did not invent new words. He did not invent any new words. Firstly, he made the work very difficult. Secondly, he has written it in a very roundabout manner. That is, I thought of noting down some sentences and telling you who is this. You can understand, that means this thing is true after twisting it so much. There are many other philosophers, and there are many other philosophers who twist a matter like Heideggers, like Nietzsche, twisting the straight matter so much, Brother Nietzsche in one of his books. The name of this book is Beyond Good and Evil. In it he has used a word, frog. Brother frog is a word of Urdu or Hindi, frog. Now you are writing this text in German language, and 150 years ago, there was no Google. That means will the reader understand frog now, but knowingly, to confuse his reader that I know a lot, now guess what is frog. Although Nietzsche used the right Latin also, used the right French in between, used to throw Italian also, but now don't write frog, friend, but just annoy. So this happens in some philosophers, knowingly complicating things. I can understand that logic is such a strange topic that a new style is needed to write on it. It would definitely be needed, but complicating it so much is a bit beyond understanding. Well, brother, Hegel was a very well-read man. When you read his system, you will be surprised that today we are talking about logic, but in nature also, whatever was happening in science at that time, whatever scientific discoveries were happening, he has tried to fit them in his system. He was a very well-read man. That is, I think he had read all the books that were published till that time. Well, Hegel's system is very big. Nothing is outside Hegel's system. No philosopher's system is so big. Although Hegel's system is an eminent system, that is, it is not a transcendental system. It is a system within the world, a system within the universe, but still it is the biggest system. No other philosopher's system is so big, because what Hegel did was that he included the systems of many old philosophers in the system. Now you will see that in Hegel's system, Plato's system is also there. In Hegel's system, Aristotle's system is also there. There is also decadent in Hegel's system. There is also Spinoza in Hegel's system. There is also egalitarians in Hegel's system. When you combine the systems of so many people and make a big system, how big will the system become? Because in Hegel nothing is wrong. If a philosopher was wrong, then also he was right. Hegel's negative has a great value here. So negative, positive, negative. We will discuss all this now, but I am just telling you, because a philosopher's system has been proved wrong, then also he was right at his time, because that journey of rationality was a very important part of that journey. So Hegel had materialism. Hegel is an idealist. Hegel is an idealist, not a materialist, but Hegel's system also has materialism, as Marx made it famous. Karl Marx said that yes, Hegel's work is only of ideas. The work of matter is mine, brother. As much matter is in Marx, the same work of matter is in Hegel as well. He made it famous like this, that there is nothing outside Hegel. No. Hegel only talks about ideas. Hegel's matter is a category of Hegel. I will tell you now what a category is. So what I mean to say is that Hegel included all the systems in his system. Therefore his system became very big. Well, he loved the Greeks like mad. He was a disciple of Aristotle. But anyway, the Greek tragedy, the Greek laws, the Greek religion, he was simply a Greek at heart. I have never seen any philosopher respecting the Greeks so much. Nietzsche also loved the Greeks. Heidegger also liked them. But the way Hegel is crazy about the Greeks and the status he gives to the Greeks, I have seen that in very few philosophers. He did not like the Romans, whether it was the Roman Republic or the Roman Empire. Hegel thought that the Romans, as I have written here, were essentially bands of robbers who got together and then required strong practical laws, eventually tyrannical, to keep them from turning on each other. So he thought that they were just scoundrels. The Romans were scoundrels, basically. That is why they had taken over the world. Well, tell me one thing. Hegel hated loss. He hated any kind of loss. Oh, brother, I think after Kant, Hegel is the biggest name in German idealism, and he was in love with the French Revolution. He used to celebrate the French Revolution every year. He was 20 years old when the French Revolution took place, and freedom is the main point of his philosophy. If we translate Hegel's philosophy in one word, it would be freedom. He believed that after the French Revolution, the white people who don't say Protestant West, it would be a bit politically incorrect. If I say Protestant West, it means white people. They believe that this Protestant world, the West of Europe, the Protestant world, a consciousness of freedom has developed in these people, which is a very big thing. That is, through the history of human civilization, not every civilization has a consciousness of freedom, but we white people have developed a consciousness of freedom, especially after the French Revolution and the American Revolution. Freedom is the essence of its life, its philosophy. The main point is that, well, I know that many people, many great philosophers, are also against Hegel. All the analytical people, what is happening to my hair, settle down. All the analytical philosophers who have gone through do not believe in Hegel at all. That is, Bertrand Russell said that his entire system is nonsense. In fact, Allama Iqbal has also said that Hegel's Siddharth is empty of Gohar. His talisman is all imaginary. So it is obvious that the system is imaginary. That is, Hegel's categories are one to another, the second to the third. So in the derivation you will feel that he has stretched the matter too much at many places. So many people do not believe in Hegel's system. They say, what is this drama Botzi? Like Bertrand Russell, Karl Popper, and many other philosophers have also accused Hegel that the end of the absolute Hegel system in your mind is the absolute idea of God. But Hegel says that I have not reached that conclusion. I started a journey of thought by using dialectical method. One category kept driving the other, and eventually we reached a category on which all the categories end. That is the absolute idea of God. The philosophy of the fool says that just do it, friend. You had already thought about it, and you just needed a way to reach it. To say that no, these categories are self-driven. That's how thinking works. That is, if you start thinking from being, then you will reach God. I will explain the entire system to you from being to the end. But many scholars also said the same thing. In one or two places, Richard Rorty also wrote the same thing that no friend. It was already in your mind that you have to reach God, and that means just do it. It is not that if you start thinking dialectically from being and start driving categories, you will reach God. Do not make us do this. It was already in your mind that you have to reach here. Well, yes, there are a lot of criticisms on Hegel's system. Hegel's system is criticized a lot that it is a very Eurocentric system. It thought that only the white race has the consciousness of freedom. It ignored the Africans and the whole Chinese continent. That is, when you are doing philosophy of history, you ignore the whole China. It's said about the Indians that they do not have a sense of freedom. This is our India. Yes, it has a caste system and caste system. The system does not give you freedom. So these people do not have freedom. They do not have the consciousness of freedom. I will use a word right now. It is a little politically incorrect, black or kale. He has used the word Negroes. That Negroes do not have any sense of consciousness of freedom. Karl Marx also wrote that Hegel's system is a magnificent failure. Although Karl Marx has published a lot, he has benefited a lot from Hegel. At least Marx has benefited a lot from his Dialectics, which is his dialectical method. But Marx called Hegel's system a magnificent failure. Kierkegaard also called Hegel's system a magnificent failure. In his philosophy of history, Hegel completely left out China, completely left out Russia, completely left out Slavic states. He thinks that Hegel was a man. Obviously, he thinks that history is a name of progress, and it started from Asia and ended in Europe. So Europe is what it is. At the forefront praise is yes, I have told you that Africa has been ousted, China has been ousted, Russia has been ousted. He thought that the culmination of historical process has been completed in Europe. That is, whatever consciousness of freedom should have come, has come in the Europeans. Now no more new ideas can come than this. So Europe is a culmination of the consciousness of freedom. That is, whatever freedom has come to Europeans, there cannot be any more freedom than this. That is, this democracy, liberal values. This is all freedom. What more can there be? That is why Fukuyama wrote the book in history. That now what more freedom do you want from this kind of liberal democracy and capitalism? That Fukuyama has written history. The End of History and The Last Man by Francis Fukuyama. Yes, brother. He used very bad words about the blacks. He considered them an inferior race. He thought that they did not have such a developed consciousness. As much as it is in other races, he believed that the physical and mental health is the most in the whites. He also wrote a lot against the American indigenous people. He wrote against women, saying that women are very emotional. They should not lead them, and they should not be the head of the state. He wrote a lot of praise for wars. It works in negative and positive. Wars are very important here. Revolutions are also very important. So the military militarization that happened in Europe in the 19th and 20th century, people blame it a lot. I just want to say that he believed that the Western civilization is the most well-developed. No one was more well-developed than this in history. And not developed in the material sense, but in the sense of consciousness. That is, no one ever had more conscious freedom than us. We are ahead of everyone. So his philosophy is a very weak area. When I read history, I first read his philosophy of history. I was very surprised at what is he writing. I mean, look where Russia is going, where China is going, the next era that is about to come. People are not even aware of the progress that Africa has made in the last 202 years. Africa has awakened, brother. Well, I told you that freedom is very important in its philosophy. He used to say that all the civilizations that have passed, all the cultures of the world do not have equal consciousness of freedom, that man should be free. Man should be self-determining. Some cultures have it, some do not. He used to think that the way it is now, they call themselves slaves of God. They say that they do not have the consciousness of freedom. He used to say to the Indian caste system that they do not have the consciousness of freedom. That is, Hegel thinks that the world history for Hegel is simply the progress of the consciousness of freedom. The history of the world is just this much, that the consciousness of freedom is not equal to the consciousness of freedom in humans. How consciousness is growing. This is human history. That was believed that this is a European modern era. In this they have attained a consciousness of freedom, that humans should be free. This is a very big thing. I believe that for centuries humans believed that humans would never be able to be free. This was a belief that for thousands of years humans were slaves of feudals, lords, and other caste systems that existed in the world. So I believe that humans could never even imagine that they would be free, but one. The day came when man became free, in Europe was at the forefront in this. Well, before talking about Hegel's system, i.e. his system of logic, one or two things are very important, related to the period in which he was working. The first thing is that he is a man of the Enlightenment period. What happened during the Enlightenment period was that a huge vacuum was created in the West. On top of that, the church was also removed, feudals were also removed, the king was also removed, so a huge epistemological gap was created, and everyone was looking for a new system. Brother, what to do now? If the Bible is removed, the church is also removed, the king is also removed, then how should it be? There should be democracy. All this work that has been done, all these philosophers, these Protestants, how are they all looking for God? Come on, let me tell you this thing now. If you understand this, then why do you mean that one day Descartes woke up and he completely destroyed the world? He wrote a system. Why one day Spinoza woke up and wrote the whole system? Why one day Immanuel Kant woke up and wrote the whole system? Why one day Hegel woke up and wrote the whole system? Why is this so? Today no one is getting up and writing a system. Brother, something must have happened that Hegel said, my God is reason. Hegel said miracles, miracles. Kant said these miracles, this Bible, all this is nonsense. My God is reason. The God of Kant is reason. Hegel's God is really reason. That is, in Kant, let me exaggerate a little. Hegel's God. Hegel's the absolute. Hegel's the idea. Call it the absolute. Call it the idea. Whatever, my editor will put that picture here. Hegel's God is actually a system. It is called Logos, the first verse of the Bible. In John's and beginning was the Logos. Logos is called reason, cosmic reason. Who introduces causes had said first of all that there is reason in each and everything in the universe. Reason, there is a universal logo working. Everywhere. This is a God of the universe. Reason is Hegel's God. Reason, so why did this happen, brother Anaxagoras? How great a man he must have been. One day he woke up and looked at the sun, and he said, brother, this is not a God. It is just a ball of fire. So tell me what happened in the 17th, 18th century, that Descartes got up and wrote the whole system. Spinoza got up and wrote the whole system. Brother Descartes said that we can reach God through reason. He was the first man who said this, but he was not the God of the Bible. Brother, I am asking you the question that why did this happen in the 17th, 18th century, that all these people got up and Hegel wrote such a big system, made in their own God, wrote the whole system by cutting reason. German idealism started with reason, right? So why did it happen? Why did they need to give a whole system? My boy, get a whole system, why did they need it? Look, I don't know. Now this is a question in my mind, and I asked you people that today. Nobody is writing the system in the entire medieval period. Nobody wrote the system. Earlier the Greeks used to write the entire system. Plato gave the entire system. Aristotle gave the entire system, and the rest of the work of the Presocrats was wasted. The world does not know how big a loss it will be. If someone mourns the work of the Presocrats is wasted, he just laments, he cries. People do not know how original the thought was that was wasted. I will tell you the categories now. Then you will understand what original thought is. So my question to you people is that what happened that in the 17th and 18th century, these 4 or 5 philosophies came and Fichte came, Schelling came, Hegel came, Descartes came, Spinoza came, and they got up and started giving complete systems. Earlier, the Greeks used to give 25,000 years ago. Then if you've been listening to me for a long time, right? You will get the answer to this question in my previous videos. Well, now I am answering your question, and I get a lot of emails from boys, mostly from Pakistan and less from India on this topic. But a lot of emails come about atheism. Brother, what do you think about atheism? Since I started the channel, I think till now I must have received about 500 to 600 emails asking what you think about atheism. Well, I get a lot of emails asking what do you think about atheism. Look, I understand that there is a huge gap between us and reality. We have not reached reality. I am not saying that we can reach it or not, but we have not reached it yet. So, that distance which is between us and reality, we cover that distance with stories. Look, I believe 100% that in this universe, that there is some explanation, okay, that is, there is some reason, there is some explanation, that is, the distance between us and that region, that reality, we cover it with stories. We cover it with some narrative. A very big narrative is used to cover that distance. Religion. So religion has a lot of utility. And another new thing. See what happened in the West? The death of God is a very big event. That is, the death of God is not a small event. The death of a person is a very big shock. So this death of God is a very big event. When in the 16-17th century Europe realized that this has happened to us, these things are not right. When their faith in Christianity started to fade. But these people survived the death of God, although they had a lot of problems. Europe is the most educated area of the world. Europe is the richest area. They have looted the world. They have a lot of money. So Europe survived the death of God, although they face a lot of problems. I don't know about existentialism, nihilism, and you know the propensity for violence in this West is very high. They have done a lot of violence in the world. That is, and especially after the death of God, the First World War, the Second World War, and even before the death of God. That is, what they did in America, what they did in Africa, what Leo did, who was a German. But these people survived the death of God. Why did they survive? You know, because these people went back to Greek philosophy. Greek philosophy saved them. Their belief was that this Bible is of the Orientals. It came from the East. They believe that prophets are made in the East, and we had philosophers in the West. So when they left Christianity, they went back to the Greeks. That is, Greek philosophers, even after dying for 2,500 years, saved their lives in the graves. He helped these people, and they made reason their God. This Protestant world, their God is reason. Kant's God is reason. Hegel's God is reason. Decathlon's God is reason. And later when Kant and these people together took reason to such a high and suppressed passion as well, then David Hume and Rousseau and those people brought passion to the top, and the Romantic movement began. But what I mean to say is that when the time of the death of God came for these people, they caught hold of reason. That is why these people were looking for all these systems. Hegel was looking for a system that what do we have to do after the death of God? The overman of the load did not come, brother. The overman of the load did not come who could give you new standards of morality. After good and beyond, after good and evil, the overman of the load did not come. These people had to go back to reason again. Nietzsche wrote against reason. Rousseau wrote. David Hume wrote in favor of passion. There were, but no overman has come till now. This Elon Musk is not the overman. He is not giving any new standards of morality for the profit of his next quarter. If he knows that all the humans should be killed, then he will get them killed. These people do not care about the next quarter. Brother, what are they doing to our humanity? What is happening to the planet? They did not even have the overman from below. They went back to rise, and then later on, these people survived because they are rich people, educated people. It is not necessary that every community survives the death of God. These people were searching for such a system through which morality could be brought. The system of morality is a system of morality without God. That is, Kant is God in his system. I am not saying this, but that pure practical reason which is called Kant. So this science, brother, science is also very far from reality. It does not mean that science has reached reality. Richard Rorty used to say that science is not in the business of truth anymore. Science is a utility. It will make your life easier. Science does not know much. It is standing on very big assumptions. How was the first cell made, brother? I do not know how the first living cell was made. There are many assumptions. Sulfur was found. This element was found. Water, sunlight. This and that was found. Look, we have all the elements in the world. Show us by making them. Show us by creating life. What is consciousness? What is gravity? Many basic things. We knew Euclidean geometry for thousands of years. Brother, Plato considered geometry to be God. Socrates read his dialogues. What respect did the Greeks have for geometry? Well, Pythagoras here I used to think that geometry, Euclidean geometry, was proved wrong. By wrong I mean that non-Euclidean geometry had to be invented. I found out that no friend, this was our calculation. We are just being happy that the world is based on geometry. No, brother, this universe is not based on geometry. We have calculated. The belief systems of many people broke down in the 17th and 18th centuries. Then these people said that no master, we will have to find a new system. So these people made reason God. So, brother, what I want to say is that just like religion, science is also like that. You have replaced religion with science. Science is also not aware. It is not like science keeps getting upgraded. Religions are not reformed. Many people think that Christianity was reformed. Now they do not know. They think that, friend, what should I say, friend? Protestantism has nothing to do with religion. Luther was more fanatic than the church. Tell me. I am tired of Zwingli, who was more fanatic than the church. This Protestant religion, which came in the beginning, was more fanatic than the Catholic Church. This Reformation did not happen from the bottom up. It happened from the top. It happened towards strictness. People do not read, and then they come to debate. Reformation is not a religion. Reformation has nothing to do with Protestantism. They made reason their God. They cursed these Lutherans. No one is following Luther's system in the world, which means they left Christianity. Reformation did not happen. Christian Catholic Church has not reformed till date. They are doing the same for 2,000 years. Whatever their rules and regulations are, even today no woman can become a priest of any church. She cannot become a priest of a parish. So becoming a pope is very far-fetched. Recently, the election of the pope took place. All men were there. A woman becoming a cardinal is far from being a deacon. A woman cannot become a priest of a parish. The thing is that these people have made reason their God. So we don't know the reality. To cover that distance, sometimes we use religion and sometimes science. But just like science, that is science away, that is the story, it also cannot take us to reality. The way religion is, I think that whoever is on a belief system, he should stay in that belief system. One should try to get closer to rationality. Gradually, you should start grasping rationality. And we and the Europeans have made rationality itself their God, like Kant and Hegel, etc. This has not happened here. Here people do talk about atheism, but some people here are rationalizing Islam, which Gambi Saab is doing, and some here are Islamizing reason. They say that all the science has already been explained by Islam. So here, basically reason is being played with. We are not moving towards reason. People are thinking that those who are rationalizing Islam, Gandhi Sahib, this will reform Islam. They do not know what is happening to them. They will know after 50 years what happened to them. You cannot rationalize anyone's metaphysical narrative. You can either stick to your narrative or leave it and not rationalize it. There cannot be a bigger deception than this for human beings to rationalize their metaphysical narrative. Many people have done this in history. In every religion, there is someone who rationalizes its metaphysical narrative. I consider this a very bad thing. So, brother, I have to say that I was asked about atheism, and my question was that why were these people looking for a system? Because these people had gone through the death of God. A huge vacuum had been created. These people made reason into God. The West has made all these philosophers Protestants. Hegel was Protestant. Kant was Protestant. Friedrich Nichols was Protestant. Now someone will come down and write that he was atheism. Brother, he was a Protestant by birth. Schopenhauer was Protestant. Goethe was Protestant. Bertrand Russell was Protestant. Brother, John Locke, David Hume, Gummy Bentham, John St. Mill, all these. Even Spinoza was Protestant. Now you will say that he was a Jew. brother. He was Protestant. He has written in his book that Decadent was a Protestant. Now you will say that he was a Catholic, and he fought on behalf of the Protestants against the Catholics. In the olden days, he was a Jew. So, it must be said that no philosophy was born in Catholicism, because philosophy is done when a vacuum is created. So these Protestants saw a very big vacuum and thought, what to do now? There is no church, no king. We don't believe in the Bible. It is theirs. It is of the Orientals. If we remove Christianity, let's believe only in Jesus. Then we need a system of morality. For that, all these philosophers were bringing all these big systems, Decadent, Spinoza, Hegel, Kant, Fichte, Schelling. These big systems were given by the philosophers because there was a very big vacuum. So that what do we have to do like Kant? Hegel also wanted to create a religion which was inspired by the Greek religion, which was based on ethics and free from dogmas of Christianity and Bible worship. I told you that these people were looking for a new religion, a new system. Well, Hegel thought that once he gave a system, everything was over and now no big idea will come. Now no big system will come. Kant had a lot of influence on Hegel, and Spinoza had a lot of influence on Hegel. What Kant did was basically two strands of philosophy, Platonic stand and Epicurean stand. Platonic was spiritual and Epicurean was materialist. Both of these were not reconcilable, and both could not be proved. In a way, Kant created a reconciliation between the two. Kant said that this material stand is right for this world. In this material world, he named it theoretical reason that you can do science. All this is matter. You can prove all these things in this world by using empirical data. You cannot prove these spiritual things because Kant named all these things as thing in itself, noumena. This spiritual world is in noumena. You cannot prove it in this practical reason, this phenomena, this world as we see it. So Kant said, brother, this is also correct, but these materialistic people are correct only in the nominal world, and these spiritualistic people are correct only. Sorry, I say it again, this materialistic stand is also correct for the phenomenal world, and this spiritualistic stand is also correct for the nominal world. But Kant said we cannot know the nominal world. Kant divided the world into two parts. Kant said, brother, you are also right. You are also right. The materialistic ones are correct in this world. The spiritualistic ones are correct in noumena. Noumena, the thing in itself, which we can never know. This which Kant said, did you invent the nominal thing in itself, which we can never know? All the philosophers rejected it, and all the philosophers started working, that now we will create such a system in which we will know the thing in itself. How did you say that we cannot know the thing in itself? So Hegel was also one of them who started working that we will know this nominal world as well. We will know this thing in itself as well. Nothing should be outside our knowledge. Kant had asked the question that what is knowledge? Then he divided it, that we can only go till phenomena. We cannot go till the noumena. So that is why Hegel was also working to eliminate this difference of the thing in itself, which Kant had created. And Spinoza also has a great influence. Spinoza had said that we can know this universe through reason. Everything is a unity. Spinoza had said, all things are one. There's only one substance in this entire universe, and we are all modes of that substance. My mind is a mode of God's mind. My body is a mode of God's body. There's only God in this world. Hegel liked this thing as well. Hegel also liked Kant's system that I will fill the gap that he has created, and I will fill Spinoza's. That is, everything is one, and there is only one substance. Hegel's system is also one. Philosophy of logic, philosophy of nature, philosophy of spirit. If you combine all these, then it becomes one, the idea, the absolute. So Hegel's system is also one. I disagree with Spinoza at some places. Spinoza believed that there is no purpose of this universe. Hegel believed that the purpose of this universe is reason. The universe is running on reason. There is also a difference between Hegel and Spinoza, that Hegel believed that the truth is timeless, whereas Hegel believed that nothing is timeless, everything is moving, everything is becoming. Well, in Hegel's philosophy, everything is moving. Hegel believed that this world is based on reason, this world is based on logos. He believed that he is an idealist, Hegel, so any idealist who is an idealist understands that ideas are reality. Hegel does not believe that this world is being run by some. Transcendental power, rather this universe, this reality, this idea is absolutely self-determining. This whole universe is reason, which is self-determining, and is moving on its own. For Hegel, all reality is in the process of becoming, i.e. what Permanent said, that everything is becoming. Hegel did not say it. Hegel follows Herodotus, who said everything is becoming. Herodotus said it 25,000 years ago. Everything is becoming, and becoming is the reality. Yar, I remembered one thing about Kant. Here, there are these two strands, materialism and spiritualism. Kant had said that this world will never run on materialism. He was such a great man, but he made such a big mistake and left after saying such a big wrong thing. Within 100 years, these utilitarians of England and David Hume and the whole world came to materialism. Kant was such a great man, but he made this mistake and left. Brother, Hegel understands reality, religion, history, philosophy, art, everything in the process of becoming. Hegel's system is not transcendental, it is immanent. Well, many people think that Hegel was a mistake. Hegel was a pantheist. It is not like that at all. In mysticism, you talk about irrational things. In pantheism, you do not talk about logical things. Those are illogical things. Those are belief system. Those are feeling. I am getting a call. I am getting a feeling. So, Hegel's entire system is based on rationality, one category after another, and then dialectical method at every stage. So there is process as well as method and reason in it. So to say that he was a mystic philosopher or a pantheist is definitely true, that Hegel has definitely said that this universe is a complete reality. This entire universe is God. This entire universe is based on reason, and this cosmic reason, this cosmic logos. My reason is a part of that reason. That is, I and the reality are one. This is true. Now it depends on how close one is to that reality. His book Phenomenology of Spirit will not be available right now. In the Phenomenology of Spirit, it has been told that who is how much conscious, starting from sense perception, then understanding, and then starting from reason, and then understanding of the absolute. You can attain the understanding of that absolute. Your reason can be a part of that reason, close to that reason. So this definitely appears to be a pantheistic angle, but Hegel was not a mistake. He was not a pantheist. He did a very logical, rational philosophy by using logic to drive things. He did not do such feeling-based philosophy that, yes, I have become a Vedradin. He did not talk about such things. He did not talk about spiritual democracy like that. This is the problem with Hegel's logic. Brother, very few people read Hegel's logic. It is very difficult. Lenin has written a complete essay on Hegel's logic. Well, let me tell you about dialectics. Let me just tell you about dialectics once, and then I will move on to categories. Hegel has used dialectics in his entire philosophy. Whether it is his philosophy logic, which we are talking about today, whether it is philosophy of nature or philosophy of spirit, everything is in triads. The first statement is a positive statement. The second statement is its opposite, and then the third statement is a reconciliation of both. I am knowingly not using the words thesis, antithesis, synthesis here, because Hegel never used these words. These words belong to Fichte, and Hegel did not like them. And I must have read about 20 books to make this video. I read at least 20 books in all the videos that I make on Hegel's logic. The last video I made was made by me. If I had a rotating camera, I would have shown you the huge stack of books I have lying around. I had read 25 books to make videos on Machiavelli. I think I have read 20 of them. I had bought 4 books online because I don't have space anymore. Now my wife has started getting fed up of me buying more books, so I buy some books online. There were 25 books behind that 2-hour video. One of those books was 900 pages long. Although I had read all of Machiavelli's philosophy for a long time, but to make the video, I read at least 20 books. I must have read at least 20 books on logic. To make this video on Hegel's logic, the words used in each book are thesis, antithesis, synthesis. But brother, many people say that this is not a correct, accurate representation of dialectics. So let me if I do not use these words. The first proposition is always a positive proposition. The first thought is positive and the second thought is its opposite, and both these thoughts together reconcile in a third thought. And in the third thought, both of them are present. This does not end. This is dialectics. In everything, its opposite is present. This is dialectics. Everything changes into its opposite. This is dialectics. Hegel actually did not want to use the sequence of cause and effect, because the issue of cause and effect is that in the end you get stuck that the first cause is this. This is the cause of this. When you are explaining the world, as Aristotle did, as Spinoza did, then you get stuck on the first cause. So what is the cause of the first cause? So Spinoza was clever. He said that the first cause is the self-cause. Hegel did not want to do this. So he used the method of dialectics. What is dialectics, brother? That in every idea its opposite is present. What is dialectical movement? When a thought gets converted into its opposite. Is it possible that a thought gets converted into its opposite? There is a couplet by Gallup, that pain is to cross its limits. It becomes a medicine. This is dialectics. I have explained in the couplet, brother. This is dialectics. When something, any idea gets converted into its opposite, it is called dialectics. That pain has to cross its limits. It becomes a medicine. That is John's couplet, right? Yes, give me the medicine, but tell me whether I will get relief or not. Some people are living with the help of pain. Sometimes sorrow becomes the support of life. Brother Hegel had given an example that the French Revolution started with freedom and ended with guillotine. This is Hegel's example. Hegel has given this example of dialectics and this couplet that I have recited. That pain has to cross its limits. It becomes a medicine. This is also Hegel's example. I have said in the couplet, but Hegel has written it. So I have read the whole sentence in English. When I read it, I said that there is a couplet by Gallup on this. To cross the limits of pain is to become suppressed. Any idea turning into its opposite is dialectics. The French Revolution started with freedom and ended with guillotine. This is dialectics. Sometimes too much worship also becomes a sin. This is dialectics. Too much bravery becomes stupidity. This is dialectics. Hegel thought that friend, what we think in doxology, good, bad, big, small, is a very primitive style of thinking. The Greeks used to think like this 2,500 years ago. Good, bad, big, small. If we keep thinking like this, dualism's good, bad, and in this way, then we can never reach the truth. Truth is in grades. Its position is present in everything. We should leave these things behind and realize with an open mind that its position is also present in everything, and we should think dialectically. Yes, so I was explaining dialectics to you. I was saying that it was being said that Hegel believed that we have now moved beyond the age of understanding. Now we have entered the age of reason. If you have read his Phenomenology, then sense perception, and above that, understanding, and above that, reason. So we have moved beyond understanding. Now it is very important that we stop thinking in dualisms and start thinking in dialectics, praise. That is, what is said about Hegel is that Hegel's dialectical method breaks Aristotle's logic of the principle of non-contradiction. That is, the principle of non-contradiction is that a thing can exist and not exist at the same time. This cannot happen. That is, I say that I am Ali, I am not Ali. Both these statements cannot be true at the same time. This is what Hegel is saying, that the first category of Hegel's logic is being, and being is identical. Brother of nothing, how can being and nothing be the same? Friend. By the way, look how great Hegel was. What has been presented to the world, being and nothing, are identical. The man was amazing, isn't he? I am not saying that the law of non-contradiction should not be broken. I am saying that he was amazing. By the way, being and nothing are identical. Being is nothing and nothing is being. He was an amazing man. By the way, yes, Hegel is saying that its opposition is present in everything. The first category is that being becomes being. So Hegel is saying that, brother, I will do philosophy. And the example I gave you of dialectics is that the pain has to cross its limits and it becomes a cure. And then I told you that when I read the dialectical method, I liked it at many places. At many places, I felt that brothers pulled it off. When you have only one tool and you hit it everywhere, it will not work everywhere. Well, you have 2 topics left. I will tell you what are the categories, and then how did Hegel drive the categories. We will drive the first 3 categories, and today's discussion will end. But you must see the picture that I have made as a PowerPoint slide. Hegel has 30 to 40 categories of his logic. Basically, what should have happened was that I should have shown you a paper in which Hegel's complete system of logic is there, and then inside logic, there's the being essence notion, and then those 3 have 9, and then those 9 have 27. So there should have been a paper. I did not have such a big slide. So I made an introductory slide in which I showed only logic, nature, and spirit. And then I made a separate slide for logic, a separate slide for nature, and a separate slide for spirit. So in one slide, 2, 3 for slides, I have shown the system completely. Ideally, it should have been in one slide, but brother, I do not have such a big slide. If you understood, then do see that slide of logic in which there are 30 to 40 categories. Okay, what are categories? They're also called categories. They're also called concepts. They're also called forms. They're also called universals. There are many names for them. Okay, there used to be an Eleatic school in Greece. In Greece, they used to say that these particulars, this world, the world of particulars, is the world. It is not that important. This world is not that good. This is the world of becoming. This is the world of change. This is an illusionary world. Actually, those are ideas. Actually, those are universals. Those are parts. Those are forms. Those are categories. That is, when I understand this world, I understand it through categories. For example, let me give you an example. Now I will say a sentence. This is a soft white paper. All the words that I have spoken in this sentence are categories. Those are concepts through which I am understanding this particular. This is a concept in my mind. I have not experienced this anywhere. What is this? I have gone somewhere and seen it lying there. This is a category through which I understand the world. These numbers are a category. This is a concept. I have not seen this anywhere that, brother, if I saw a horse, I must have said one. If I saw a shape, I must have said one. If I saw a girl, I must have said one. But before that, I had a concept in my mind. No concept of numbers, so what was I saying? This is a soft white paper. So this is a concept, a very big concept. Soft means that I have a concept of hardness in my mind. I am comparing it with that hardness. Then it seems soft to me, so this is a soft white concept. I have not seen whiteness anywhere. That this is white. So I have not experienced white as category anywhere. But I am comparing this white with that. White, so I am coming to know that this is white. There is a concept of whiteness in my mind. This is a soft white paper. Being is beingness, is a concept of being. So this particular. If I make a kite, it will become a kite. If I make it a pocket, it will become a pocket. This is changing. This is illusionary. So this is becoming a becoming. Nothing is permanent. The real thing is those categories which are permanent. You understand this. In the Eleatic school itself, 2,500 years ago, people used to think like this, that the categories in our region, and these people used to think that these are the categories through which we understand these particulars. If I burn this particular, it will be finished. If I paint it black, it will become black. This is a changing real world. The one which I understand it because of the categories, right? That is, no one can deny that consciousness of a particular thing comes before the universal. That is, it is true that earlier I said that this particular came first in my mind on a piece of paper, but logically the concept of one was already in my mind. That is, if we talk from the time point of view, then the particular came first. But logically the concept of number one was already in my mind. That is, the logical priority is of universals. Particulars come later. Universals, which are Eleatics, he said that, brother. The universals, the concepts through which I understand these particulars, those universals are real, but they do not exist. For example, let me give you an example. Those universals are like, I have my shadow, brother. My shadow exists, brother. It exists. I can see it, but it is not real. So there's a difference between existence and being real. For example, my dream and my dream. For example, someone in my dream. There's a mountain, it exists. A mountain exists in my thought, but it is not real. Similarly, this world exists, but it is not real. Those are the categories. Those are the universals. Those are the concepts through which I understand these particulars. For example, this is a soft white paper. All the words in it are categories. This is a concept. This is a category. 1 is a concept. Soft white is a concept. Whiteness is being. Beingness. All these concepts are real. This particular is real. If I make it black, it will become black. If I burn it, it will be destroyed. I mean, the particular is changing. It is illusory. We don't believe in these things. We only believe in universals through which we understand these particulars. This was the Eleatic school. After that came Plato. Plato also took this theory forward. Plato said, brother, all the things in this world have a real form, which is beyond time and space. At least the Eleatics did not say that they exist physically somewhere. Plato said that they exist physically and are beyond time and space. They are transcendental, and Plato named them form. That means if there is truth in this world, it is because a form of truth exists above. There is justice in this world. Everyone understands that justice is a good thing because there is a form of justice, the ideal form. See, the Eleatics at least did not say that it is because of it that there is whiteness somewhere due to which the particular is white, i.e. the particular is because of the universal. The Eleatics did not say this. Plato said that the particular is because of the universal, and the universal exists transcendentally outside time and space. Plato named those universals as forms, which can also be called categories. You can call them anything. Those categories are real, and because of them the world exists. There is a form of truth because of that truth. This is a table. There is a form of a table in that world. That table is perfect in that world because of that table. Plato also solidified the categories further. He said that because of them, because of a particular universal, the universal forms are particulars because of ideas. Well, they have many names. Universal form ideas categories. I don't know what all Plato said about reason. Only through them we can reach those unchanging, timeless universal forms and categories. Our senses give us fake information, and these particulars are changing as soon as they happen. There's becoming. Look, friend, how much the world has changed. 2,500 years ago, being was called philosophy. Well, it is also called universal. It is also called category. It is also called form. It is also called being. 2,500 years ago, being was considered the real philosophy. Today, becoming is considered the real philosophy. There is so much difference. So Plato said, brother, being is real. Universal is real. Form is different. Category is real. What is unchanging is perfect because of that this particular in the world is Mike. This paper is particular. Because of that universal this particular is there. Well, everything has a form. There is truth in the world. There is a form of truth above all. There is justice in the world. There is a form of justice above all. There is beauty in the world. There is a form of beauty above all. Whatever is there in the world has a form above it, and above all those forms there is a form of good, which is one, which is being. Plato also added this. There is also a category of form of good in Plato's category. But Plato did not say that there is form of bad inside the form of good. I am just trying to explain the cleverness of Hegel. Plato said there is form of good. Plato said there is form of beauty. He did not say that there is form of bad inside the form of beauty. Are you understanding Hegel's game? Well, I told you that there was Eleatic school. They said that categories are real, but they did not say that particulars exist because of universals. Plato said that categories are real and particulars exist because of those categories. Now Aristotle came, and he gave his famous theory of form and matter. No, brother, this Aristotle. This Plato sob left after saying that forms exist there. Beauty exists in the world. Because a form of beauty exists there, a category of beauty exists there. He said, no, form exists within that thing. It exists on the earth itself. Plato was transcendental. Aristotle was eminent. Aristotle brought it into the world. He said that everything has its form within it. If a thing is white, then whiteness is within it. Whiteness is not somewhere separate, Plato sobbed. Said that there's whiteness somewhere. Because of that whiteness, this paper is white. No, brother. Its form is within it. Whiteness is not lying somewhere outside this form. Plato sob had said that form exists somewhere else. It is transcendental. That category is outside the earth, time, and space. Because of that category, because of that universal, because of that form, this particular is white. No, Aristotle said this is white, and this is a whiteness. Whiteness is within this itself. Whiteness is somewhere else. Because of that whiteness, it is not white. He said that its form is within it. It is white because whiteness is within it. The form of everything. Look at the theory of Plato and Aristotle about form and matter. He said that everything is made of two things, one matter and one form. Like a human being, for example. Now there is a boy who is 10 years old. He has not come to his form yet. But when that boy becomes 25 years old, young, full of muscles, we will say, That brother, he has come to his form now, and then when he becomes 40 to 45 years old, we will say that now he is losing his form. That is, the form is called the ideal stage. Brother, you understand that the form is within him. The form is somewhere. Aflatun Sab said that the form is somewhere, and that category is somewhere, and that universal is somewhere else. No, I am using these words interchangeably. Form, universal, category is correct, and Plato and Aristotle said one more thing. That, brother, there are no universals, etc. The universals are only within particulars. That is, these ideas, forms, categories, universals, Aristotle brought them into the world, and Aristotle's theory of gradation says that there is not equal amount of form and matter in every object. A stone is 99% matter. There is a little form. I have said 99% myself, but I have said it for the sake of explaining. Trees have a little more form. The matter has reduced. Humans have a little more form, and God is only a form. There is no matter in God because, hey, even in Plato, please forgive me, in Aristotle's words, God is a thought. God is a thinking thought. And Aristotle says that everything wants to move toward a higher form, towards its perfect form. That is why this whole world is becoming. According to Aristotle, this world is becoming. And according to Aristotle, God is also, it is matterless. It is just a thought. It is a self-thinking thought. Well, I told you what the Eleatic school thought about categories, about forms, about universals. Then I told you what Plato thought about categories, about universals, about forms. Then I told you that Aristotle brought forms into the world, brought universals into the world. He said that there are no universals. Forms exist only in particulars. Well, the categories are the ones through which we create this world. Well, after that, the Eleatic school was told about Plato. Aristotle told about forms, about universals, about concepts, about categories. Now came David Hume. David Hume said that the things which we do not experience are illusions. David Hume challenged causality. I have already told this in many of my videos, so I will not go into its details. After that came Kant, and Kant did a lot. He did a very detailed study, and those forms, those universals, those categories, those concepts which were present somewhere, Kant brought them to his mind. Kant said, brother, there are 12 categories in our mind due to which we understand this world. Causality is one category. For example, I saw the sun, and I saw a hot stone. I did not experience that the sun has heated this stone. I have a concept of causality in my mind through which I will understand that the sun has heated this stone. I did not experience causality, but I understand the world. I understand the world through causality. I understand the world through time. These are also two intuitive categories, close to Kant, of time and space. So Kant introduced 12 categories. The first of quantity, which includes totality, plurality, and unity, and the second of quality, i.e., what should I name them? So, I mean to say that Kant introduced 12 categories. Introduce that, brother, these are the 12 categories which are in my mind due to which I understand this world. If I did not have those categories in my mind, I would not have been able to understand the world. Okay, what did Kant do? He divided the world into two parts. One phenomenal world, which I can see and understand, and one nominal world, which I cannot see and cannot understand. Kant said that with these 12 categories which are in my mind, I can only understand this phenomenal world. Nominal. World, real world, reality thing in itself, I still cannot understand. I cannot understand it even by using those 12 categories. Kant said that these 12 categories, which are in the mind of humans, are fixed. They are in the mind of every human being, and Kant said that I can never understand that thing in itself, and Kant said that these categories are subjective. That is, they are only in my mind. I understood the point till here, if you have understood. Then let us start talking about Hegel's categories. I have told you what categories are. The Eleatic school said that concepts are real and particulars are not real. Plato came and he gave more respect to the forms and said that they are transient and this world exists because of them. After Plato, Aristotle came and Aristotle brought the forms and categories into concepts in this world. He said that, brother, there is a form inside everything. After that, there was no work on idealism. After that, Kant came and Kant said that there are 12 categories and those 12 categories are in our minds. But Kant said that all these 12 categories are fixed and do not change. Every person has 12 of them. Now Hegel came and he told about his categories. Hegel said that, yes, brother, it is true that we do not experience this world directly. We do it through our 12 categories. Consciousness is a drive to the 12 categories in our minds, that Kant said, but Hegel said they are not 12. First of all, Hegel said that it is not 12. Secondly, Hegel said that it is not universal. Thirdly, Hegel said that it is not fixed. This world is not constant. This world is changing. Why should the 12 categories be the same in every man who was born 2,500 years ago? Is it necessary that the world is evolving? He said, no, brother. In every culture, in every civilization, at every point in history, the categories in a man's mind are different. He said that Kant is right. Some categories are universal, which are present in everyone, are present all the time. They are present in the man of 5,000 years ago and also in the man of today. But the rest of the categories keep changing, and the categories keep changing and evolving within the species as well. So what Kant had said was that the 12 are fixed, are present in everyone, are the same. Hegel said no, they are not 12, they are many. They are not fixed, they keep changing. The categories that were in the mind of a person were different. The way he used to see this world. For him, this world was different. For me, this world is different. For the people who will come 5,000 years from now, this world will be different because we experience this world in a mediated way. And who does the mediation? Those categories that are in my mind. When those categories are changing, then this world will look different to me. The man of 5,000 years ago used to see this world differently. I am seeing it differently for the people who will come after today. Those categories are not fixed. Those categories are not universal. Those categories change. Those categories evolve. Those categories are different in every culture. Those categories are different at every time. And it is not that those categories will come inside you. You have to work hard for that. A community has to read books. A community has to do research. Then your next category will develop. Consciousness starts evolving. There is hard work behind it. Okay, and Hegel disagreed with Kant at another place. Kant had said that those categories show me only the phenomenal world. They do not show the real world. Hegel said, no, this universe is built on those very categories. To say that time is in my mind, space is in my mind, causality is in my mind, there is no causality in this world. No. Hegel said that there is causality in the universe. Only then I have the concept of causality in my mind, because I am not creating it in my mind. Causality is in this universe. Only then I have the concept of causality in my mind. Yes, if I did not have the concept of causality in my mind, I would not have understood the concept of causality in this universe. So Hegel disagreed with Kant. Hegel said, no, I can also know noumena from those categories. Then he ended this division of phenomena. He said, no, I cannot know this entire world. There is nothing that I cannot know through those categories. So what Kant said is that there are 12 categories which are fixed in every human being of every era. Those 12 categories are universal. Through those categories we see this world, we understand this world, we observe this world. Kant had 12 categories. Hegel said, yes, brother, it is a very big thing that Kant identified 12 categories. This is a very big thing. Hegel said, I agree that we understand this universe through the categories of our mind. But Hegel disagreed at many places. Hegel said, first of all, there are not only 12 categories. There are many categories through which I understand this world. Secondly, the categories are not universal. Those 12 categories are not present in every human being of every era. Categories are evolving. People of the olden times had primitive categories in their minds. People of today's era have advanced categories. Our consciousness has evolved. We see this world in a refined, sophisticated way. Our categories are advanced. If you want to understand a culture, like you are understanding a culture of 2,500 years ago, the most important thing is that you understand the categories that people of that era had in their minds. Every civilization, every culture. Even today, Hegel said that the categories of every culture are not the same in the world today. Indians have different categories in their minds. Europeans understand the world with their categories. Africans understand the world with their categories. Categories are not universal. Every person has different categories in his mind. And Hegel made another disagreement that Kant had said that even after using my categories, I am not able to reach the reality. These categories show me the phenomenal world and not the nominal world. Hegel said that there is no such divide between nominal and phenomena. No, the world is one in the categories I have in my mind, brother. Reality also has the same structure. There is causality in this universe. That is why I have causality in my mind. My mind only helps me. The categories of my mind help me in understanding the categories of reality. To say that no, causality is not only in my mind. It is not so. Reality and my mind are one. So Hegel departed from Kant's categories. He said that if you want to understand a civilization, you have to understand the categories in which that civilization is. Thinking itself says that the most significant changes in history have involved shifts in the categories through which human beings understand this world. That is, whenever there is a very big scientific discovery, whenever there is a very big historical change, then basically what happens under is that the categories of people evolve. They start seeing this world in a new way. He said that the categories that we have in our minds today are the result of the hard work of our previous ancestors, what they thought, what they did, and these categories are transferred from one generation to the other through language only. Thought. We should not just be satisfied that we become familiar through inheritance with the categories of understanding. Rather, it is about time. We should demand to see with our own eyes how these familiar categories are indicated, preliminary freely determined by thought itself. See, Hegel used to say that these categories of understanding that we have in our minds have evolved on their own. They are self-determining. So Hegel said, brother, today we have evolved. We have reached freedom. Our consciousness has reached its peak. We have reached the final categories. The category of the absolute. The category up to God. We have achieved the understanding till this point. But we should also know how these categories have been driven. Where did these categories come from? That is, he said that Plato explained his categories, but not this. Plato said that there is a form. Because of that form, there are particular. Why did he not explain? He said to Carr, Spinoza said that this whole universe is a substance, and every thing in the universe basically has two stands of that substance, one matter and one thought. My matter is the matter of God, and all the matter in this universe is the matter of God, and all the thought in this universe is the mode of God's thought. So he did not explain why there is a substance in this universe. He took the assumption of substance. Plato took the assumption of forms. Aristotle took the assumption of form and matter. Every philosopher has some assumption. Spinoza wrote his complete system. It is Spinoza's complete system, but Spinoza first wrote a lot of assumptions. He said that if you accept these, then this is my system. Hegel said that all the philosophers who came before me took a lot of assumptions to identify these categories. Kant did not tell us this. Hegel is saying that Kant did not tell us where these 12 categories came from. Kant did give a little explanation that these come from understanding, but Kant did not drive these categories. So Hegel said that, brother, all the idealists who came before me did take assumptions. But without assumption, that is, this thought itself is determining its categories. We have to drive it without assumption. So Hegel said, brother, one more disagreement that Hegel had with Kant was that he just told us that these are 12 categories. Brother, where do these come from? How did this drive come about? If it is driven by knowledge, driven by understanding, then what is understanding? Where did understanding get it from? So Hegel's disagreement was that Kant just imposed these categories, threw them away, did not tell where did they come from. So Hegel wrote his book Logic that the categories of understanding that we have in our minds started from Plato, from Aristotle to the Eleatic school, and then Kant said there are 12. Hegel said, I will tell where did they come from, and I will not take any assumptions. I will start from zero. I will not say that, like Spinoza, accept these 15 things, and then I will prove it. No, I will tell from zero, where did these categories come from? How did these categories evolve? These categories use a dialectical system. Within a parent category, there are children categories. Those children, and then the parent of the next category. So these categories drive each other, and if I work without making any assumptions, then whatever my system will be, it will be perfect. Hegel is trying to tell how the thought has evolved. How have the categories that have come to our mind come? Hegel understood that today we have reached the absolute idea. So how did this thought reach there in the history of humans? From the day humans came into existence till today, what journey has this thought covered in the human beings? Which categories have evolved in our minds? How big is this project? You should understand how our thought process has evolved. This is its logic and how our consciousness has evolved. This is its phenomenology. There is another book. This is kept. The phenomenon is not visible above. So in logic, Hegel will tell how our categories of thought have evolved over the human beings. History will tell without taking any assumptions, just like Decadence started philosophy with universal doubt. From zero, he is saying that I will also start from zero. Within every category, there are children categories within its parent category, i.e., they drive each other. So basically the parent category is one. Universal monism and Hegel also understood that this unity of thought and being, i.e., this is my thought and the categories in thought, reality is also like that, being is also like that. Hegel said that Kant had said that reality and thought are different. Hegel is saying that no, the thought is my thought. The categories in reality are also the same, i.e. Hegel's logic is also epistemology and ontology. These categories which Hegel will drive, starting from zero to the good, to the one, to the idea, to the absolute, to God, all those realities are also Hegel's. Here Hegel is an idealist. In an idealist case, the idea itself is real. Thinking itself is real. The manifestation of that thinking is this world, which is Hegel's philosophy of nature, which is his second philosophy. We are talking about logic. Logic is just thinking, being, and in Hegel's case, thinking itself is reality because Hegel is an idealist. So the categories of the mind, the universe is also like that. Okay, now Hegel will tell you where the categories in our mind and how they have evolved, and Hegel does not take any supposition, does not start with any assumption. So now how will Hegel start explaining how the categories in our mind have evolved? Our mind, which has been in this world for so many thousand years, and according to Hegel, today we have reached the absolute idea. Starting from zero, our mind has completed this whole journey to the absolute idea. Many categories have come in. Our mind, if it has gone, then how did it come? Now how will Hegel start telling, which is the first category in the mind? Some assumption will have to be taken. Without assumption, work will not be done, brother. You have to make humans take a journey of thought. So what will be the first thought? What will be the first thought in a human's mind? What will be the first thought? Hegel said that, brother. That is, Hegel is claiming that he started assumption-less philosophy. I think that he took one assumption and one assumption. He said that I will start from being in G. Being is such a thought. Being is such a thought which is totally indeterminate. That is, there is no determinism in it, brother. When you think of something, is there any determinism in that thought? Isn't it? You are thinking about a car. You are thinking about a girl. You are thinking about an ocean. You are thinking about a dream. Every thought of yours is a determinate thought. There is some determinism in it, isn't it? Hegel said no. Being is such a thought. Being is such a thought which is the first thought in which there is no determinism. It is just that. Being is a very empty thought. It is a completely empty thought. It is a completely indeterminate thought. There is nothing in that thought. It is just that. I had told you that there are three parts in Hegel's Dialectics. The first is positive and the second is negative, and then both of them meet and reconcile in the third. But in the third, both of them remain alive. This is Hegel's Dialectics. The first thought is positive. The thought that came to Hegel's mind is the being of being. Hegel is saying that being is such a thought in which there is no determinism. Nothing is determined in it. All the determinations have been taken out of it. The only thing common in it is that it is. Brother, when you have to take out another category from one category, now there is nothing in being. So what will you take out from that? Hegel said, from one category to another, we are just three. Today we will drive the categories of being nothing and becoming. The rest of the 36 categories, brother, then the video will be at 10 hours and it is very complicated. We will drive only three categories, being nothing and becoming. Rest I will give the picture of all the categories. Hegel said, I will tell you the journey of thought. Today, the categories that we have in our mind. We have reached the absolute, the last thought, the thought of God. How do we reach that? I will start from the first thought by using the dialectical method, because thought uses the dialectical method. I am not imposing the dialectical method from my side. Thought work is done on dialectics. So, the first category, Hegel said, being is such a thought which is completely empty, pure being in which there is nothing particular. It is a completely abstract idea, that is, isness is isness. Just being is not a determination. All determinations can be removed from it. It is totally indeterminate. It is a complete vacuum. It is completely empty. It has become empty of all determinations. That is, this thought, which is the first thought of being, is so empty. There is nothing in it. It is so indeterminate that it is nothing. From here we have driven to the second category. The first category of being is such a thought which is totally empty. Now a thought which is totally empty, in which there is nothing, which is totally indeterminate, and there is no particularity in it. It is so empty. There is such a vacuum that it is nothing. Brother, when there is nothing, then when a thought is totally empty, then it will be nothing. That is, it has gone into its opposite. That first thought has gone into its opposite. Being has gone into nothing. That is, being and nothing have become identical. That is, being has disappeared into nothing. And when you think about nothing, what is nothing? Brother, when you think about nothing, then it is not that there is a vacuum in your mind. If you are still thinking about something, then that nothing which is empty is being, i.e. being vanishes in nothing and nothing vanishes in being, i.e. being and nothing are identical. What kind of thing was done by Hegel? Being and nothing are identical, i.e. being vanishes in nothing, second category, and nothing vanishes in being. So this being is also vanishing. Nothing is also vanishing, i.e. both of these are not static. This being vanishes in nothing. Nothing vanishes in being, then. These are vanishing into each other. This is not static. So it means that this is a process which we can call becoming. The process of becoming has become the third category drive, i.e. being is the empty category. Being is such a thought in which there is no particularization, i.e. being is what it is. And when a thing is so, if it is empty and there is nothing in it, then it becomes is not. That is, and is not are equal. That is, here being does not mean being and not being means being. Here being does not mean being, and not being means being. Rather, Gallup said that being had not drowned me. Had I not been there, what would I have been? I swear by God. That is, Gallup is saying that if I had not been there, nothing would have been there. Brother, what did Hegel say that this logic is also epistemology and it is also ontology? That is, it is also thought and being. Thought and being are the same thing. What is Gallup saying? Had I not been there, what would I have been? Had I not been there, there would have been no thought. The greatest work that a human being can do in this world is Shi'ari. There is no one above Shi'ar. I swear by God. Okay, so being vanishes in nothing. Nothing vanishes in being. So we do not even know what is the difference between being and becoming. That is, being is disappearing. There is nothing in nothing. Being is disappearing. It means it is a process of becoming. Then we have identified the third category, becoming. That is, we started with being, then we derived nothing. This is a dialectical process, positive, negative, and then their reconciliation, which includes both being, nothing, and becoming. We have identified the first three categories. That is, being and nothing, which is the opposition of these two. It merges in the unity of becoming. But at the same time, the differences are preserved within the new category. See, this is the process of sublation. The word sublation is very important. In Hegel's philosophy, the third step in the dialectical process is called sublation. First positive, second its opposite. Then both of them merge. That is, they drown and they also survive. Sublation has two meanings, to die and to become alive as well. That is, these two are the third category. In this, we die and are also preserved. This is called sublation. Dialectics has three steps. First step is positive. Second step is its opposite. In the third, the unity of these two. In the third, we drown and become alive and are also preserved. This is called dialectics. Sublation. This means being and nothing are preserved in becoming. Being and nothing are preserved in becoming. They are not wasted. Every category drives the other category. So being drives nothing. Nothing drives becoming. Becoming will drive more categories. Like quality. Now, if you are thinking of any thought, then first its quality will come to mind, then its quantity will come to mind, then its quantity. In this way, Hegel has described the categories of thinking. Yes, in this way, Hegel has identified 30 to 40 categories. It is very difficult, and then it is a very dry task. If you start talking on it, if you do this, it will become very difficult. The idea was that you should gain an understanding of the categories. What did the Eleatics think? What did Plato say about the categories? What did Aristotle say about the categories? Kant. How did Hegel identify 12 categories, and how much Hegel diverged from Kant? Then Hegel identified all the categories in his logic by using dialectical method, and he said that I am not imposing dialectical method on this thought. Thought itself moves in dialectics, so this is Hegel's logic, and Hegel identified all the categories, and his last category is the absolute. The idea, and Hegel said that when we reach the last category, the idea, the absolute, that is the last category as well as the first category, because the being had all the categories inside it. So this system moves forward as well as backwards. So this is a circular system. Hegel's system has no starting point. That is, Hegel was trying to avoid what people used to ask Aristotle, that the first cause is on your every cause and effect. You think that cause and effect is cause and effect. So what is the first cause of this world? For which Aristotle did not have an answer, to which Spinoza replied that the first cause was self-cause. Hegel was not happy with this answer either, so Hegel made his system circular. He said that the last thought is the absolute idea, within which all the previous ideas were present, and the first idea, which was being, also contained all the previous ideas. So this system is a circular system. The absolute is within being, brother. When I say being means is, then every thought is, everything at least is, right? See, I am not trying to give you examples of this practical world, that this is a cup, because we are not talking about the philosophy of nature in this. I am only talking about what is inside the mind, about thoughts. That is why I am not giving you any concrete example. You are understanding, right? Whatever you think inside us, at least everything from that is there. If you take it out, then it is not there. If it is there, then everything is there. You're thinking that everything is there. Then you keep on determining it till the absolute. So the system becomes circular. So Hegel's system has no starting point. So you cannot ask him what is the first cause. That is, through the deductive process, Hegel escaped from the starting point also, even though Hegel thinks that he escaped. That is, let me tell you that Plato said that being is God. Being is also there in Hegel's philosophy. Heraclitus said that becoming is God. Becoming is also there in Hegel's philosophy. Eleatics said that being is God. Being is there in Hegel's category. Spinoza said that substance is God. Substance is also there in Hegel's philosophy. So this last category, Hegel's the absolute idea, is the universal of all things and thoughts, and reality are also Hegel's epistemology. That is ontology, i.e., reality itself, for Hegel. Here, reality is only thought. So this is Hegel's last category. The absolute, the logos, that is the universal mind. This is the universal mind that holds the whole universe. According to Hegel, reason is the last justification of the universe. Reason holds a universe, the cosmic, the logos, the absolute, the idea. So, in this way, Hegel started identifying categories from zero, and he reached the absolute idea. I think it is not as important to know how those categories were driven as it is to know what categories are. What did the Greeks think about those categories? What did Kant think about those categories? And then how did Hegel drive those categories? The purpose of this video was to give this background. I hope you like this video. I have a friend from India. He gives me the thumbnails of my videos. He makes it and sends it to me. He is a very nice guy. So I told him once that I don't upload the next video until the previous video gets 2025 000 views, because I feel regretful, because these videos are made with a lot of hard work. I told you that I had read at least 25 books of Machiavelli in the video. So it was very difficult for me to simplify Hegel's logic so much. So there's a lot of hard work behind it. So I don't upload videos frequently. I feel regretful that if my videos don't get views, and if the views stop coming, I will stop doing this work. People think that I am crying for views. Brother, I am absolutely working for views. If I don't get any views, I will stop doing this work. It is true that I am not doing this for money. What money does a person get for 100, 200, 200. A person can have breakfast in the morning with this much money. It is not for money, but for views. When there is no one to listen, then it is not fun to speak. So I don't like saying this, but if you share these videos in your like-minded groups, then you will get more views. I will work quickly, friend. It was very difficult to simplify Hegel's logic so much. I think I have covered all the angles. Accepting how those categories have been driven is not our job. That is a very technical job. If this video gets views, then I will also make a video on Hegel's Phenomenology, and then I will also make a video on philosophy of history. So, in these 3 videos, a lot of Hegel's area will be covered. I hope you like this video. Take care of yourself. Thank you. Spinoza said that substance is God. Substance is also there in Hegel's philosophy. So this last category, Hegel's the absolute idea is the universal of all things and thoughts, and reality are also Hegel's epistemology. That is ontology, i.e., reality itself, for Hegel. Here, reality is only thought. So, this is Hegel's last category. The absolute, the logos, that is the universal mind. This is the universal mind that holds the whole universe. According to Hegel, reason is the last justification of the universe. Reason holds a universe, the cosmic, the logos, the absolute, the idea. So, in this way, Hegel started identifying categories from zero, and he reached the absolute idea. I think it is not as important to know how those categories were driven as it is to know what categories are. What did the Greeks think about those categories? What did Kant think about those categories? And then how did Hegel drive those categories? The purpose of this video was to give this background. I hope you like this video. I have a friend from India. He gives me the thumbnails of my videos. He makes it and sends it to me. He is a very nice guy. So I told him once that I don't upload the next video until the previous video gets 2025 000 views, because I feel regretful, because these videos are made with a lot of hard work. I told you that I had read at least 25 books of Machiavelli in the video. So it was very difficult for me to simplify Hegel's logic so much. So there's a lot of hard work behind it. So I don't upload videos frequently. I feel regretful that if my videos don't get views, and if the views stop coming, I will stop doing this work. People think that I am crying for views. Brother, I am absolutely working for views. If I don't get any views, I will stop doing this work. It is true that I am not doing this for money. What money does a person get for 100, 200, 200? A person can have breakfast in the morning with this much money. It is not for money, but for views. When there is no one to listen, then it is not fun to speak. So I don't like saying this, but if you share these videos in your like-minded groups, then you will get more views. I will work quickly, friend. It was very difficult to simplify Hegel's logic so much. I think I have covered all the angles. Accepting how those categories have been driven is not our job. That is a very technical job. If this video gets views, then I will also make a video on Hegel's Phenomenology, and then I will also make a video on philosophy of history. So, in these 3 videos, a lot of Hegel's area will be covered. I hope you like this video. Take care of yourself. Thank you.